What's going on, everybody? Yo, dude. Before we get into the chapter, talk about this magnificent chapter. There was a tweet yesterday. I forgot the person's name, and I did not get a chance to screenshot it. But it's something along the lines of, we have to appreciate this individual for constantly bringing the gas. And I was like, yo, that's facts. Like, I might have to add Brand New to my lineup. Y'all know I have my own personal lineup. Everyone has their own personal lineup, right? When that character is in a chapter, bada bing, bada bum, bada bing, boom, bow. It's goated. It is goated. You don't care. I call them my 40 out of 10 characters, right? Like, when they're in the chat, it's gonna be a banger. You know what I mean? Like characters like Gear 5 Luffy, Shanks, Mihawk, Blackbeard, Roger, Whitebeard. Anytime I see these individuals in any capacity, I'm like, my enjoyment, my excitement to see these characters is just gonna surpass everything. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, do I have to add Brand New to the list? Every time he shows up, it's a banger. It's like my dog just comes with a premium gas. He lives on it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, my boy just be moving and fire follows behind him. No wonder Akainu likes him so much. He's like, yo, that's a brother with fire. That man has that gas on him. He's got that dog in him. Like, yo, Brand New? Bro, anytime Brand New shows up, you already know. Y'all think I'm a One Piece hype man. No one knows how to hype. Let me read this, bro. Let me read this once again. Look at this. Look at this. When you factor in the rebellions we're already dealing with, this cross guild is undoubtedly a massive threat. What bounties, or this is somebody else saying this, with everything in mind, the former warlord, Crocodile, has earned a whopping 1,965 milli bounty for his mighty Logia ability and cunning guile. And then listen to this, man. If this isn't a hype, man, I don't know what is, bro. His fellow former warlord, Hawkeye, Mihawk, has even greater sword skills than the red-haired emperor. He's worth 3, not 1, not 2, 3 billion, 590 million, a fitting total for the world's greatest swordsman. As for Buggy, the bombastic clown, considering his formidable pedigree and the fact that he got those two to yield to his authority, we've given him a bounty of 3,189 mil, making one of the 2 newly recognized emperors along with Straw Hat. The world government considers him an extremely dangerous individual. Like, yo, his promo skills supersede mine. How do you not get goosebumps reading these panels? You know what I mean? Like, yo, Brett, if there's anyone in this series, you know, there's Morgans, who knows how to hype up the worst generation. If there's anyone who knows how to hype up a bounty reveal, it's my dog, Big Goat Brand New. Yo, Brand New don't be playing, son. He don't be playing. But regardless, I don't even know where to begin. This chapter, simple in structure, was split into 3 pieces. We had the legendary Luffy and his 9 commanders finally having their bounties revealed in a glorious section dedicated to the growth of our crew and how far we've gone, or how far we've come, and yet how our roots are still right back where we started, with how silly and awesome our Yonko crew continues to be. There's just something about having Ivankov, Crocodile, Buggy, Mr. 3, Mr. 1, and Luffy in the same chapter. And Jinbei. The Recon of that time may have forgotten you, Jinbei, but not me. I ain't gonna forget you. You my boy. You know how much I love you, Jinbei. That just gives me good old nostalgia, man. Good old nostalgia. My Impel down squad is in there like swimwear, baby. We love to see it. but it's just it just fills you with joy, right? It really, really does. But over here in the Revolutionary Army section, of course, we get to see that most of the revolutionary commanders are here, at least all of them, from what I can see. But what's very fascinating to me is the absence of Jewelry Bonnie. Now, Jewelry Bonnie, we all assumed was, or at least I assumed, was going to be leaving with Kuma, right? But what it looks like is actually happening here is that Jewelry Bonnie's gone one of two places. Either Jewelry Bonnie has gone to the Sorbet Kingdom for whatever's going to end up happening in that, because you know it's going to have some sort of connection to the past and Kuma's backstory and all those things that we're going to end up finding out eventually. And whatever Jewelry Bonnie's role in the story is going to end up being, that's going to be key to the Sorbet Kingdom, I'm sure. So either Jewelry Bonnie went to the Sorbet Kingdom, or next chapter, whenever we get a continuation to the Sabo plotline, we are going to see Sabo with Vivi and Jewelry Bonnie, which is a very interesting tag team. A supernova, a princess, and the Revolutionary Army's second in command, who's known as the Flame Emperor. I am down for that tag team, dude. I am. Because, Sabo will be invincible. If they do not know that Jewelry Bonnie is with him, Sabo can age himself, become a little baby, a little toddler, so we can get a small ASL Sabo, also seeing like future Sabo with like a chin badge. I'd be down for that, son. Are you kidding me? So, very, very interesting stuff, and possibilities with Jewelry Bonnie potentially being with Sabo. Now, Dragon, of course, he's always a mysterious figure. It's Dragon. He's an enigma, man. If there's any character in the series where we're just like, brother, what are you doing out here? You know what I mean? Like, it's Dragon. He is, without question, one of the most interesting individuals on the planet, on the One Piece planet, and we just want to know more about him. But this gives us a little more insight into just how far his dedication to this goes and how no rules must be broken whatsoever. And immediately when I saw that, the first person I thought of was Sakazuki, where we know there has to be an established connection there between Sakazuki and Dragon. So it's like, to know that Dragon states this, where he's like, if he really did kill King Cobra, I'm not gonna forgive him no matter what his reasons are. And the first person I thought of there was Akainu. So it's like, Dragon being a commander in that way for the Revolutionary Army is very, very fascinating, and I very much look forward, now that I saw that line, I'm very excited to see that eventual past or relationship there's going to be with Dragon and Akainu, if that ends up being the case, right? Like, I always think back to Marineford whenever this man Akainu he had Goldie Roger's son in front of him. And instead he was like, hold on, I gotta go for Dragon's son. Dragon no Musco has to get packed up. You know what I mean? So there is, and most certainly it's because, Dragon is the most wanted criminal in the world, but I feel like there was something more there. So I've always held on to that. There's something there between Akainu and Dragon. But this is very fascinating. And I love this, finally getting more insight into Dragon, the way that he runs the Revolutionary Army, just how far his conviction and how ruthless he could potentially be as a commander. I really appreciate that, because this is coming from the same individual who has so much. We saw how kind he was for Sabo when he was initially rescued, right? And he got him from the Goa Kingdom, and he was giving it to him straight, like, this is just the way the world is, son. Like, join our cause, and we can make this a better place. But we see those two different sides to Dragon, where, yes, I will accept you on my as a member of my army, but the moment that you break one of my rules, we're gonna have to take you out, no matter what reasons you have for it. And I just find that to be very interesting. So I look forward to exploring that more. We're finally getting some more from Monkey D. Dragon, as far as even more. For me, I would love to see Dragon's abilities. But something I'm even more interested in that is seeing Dragon's character. And we're finally getting to see pieces of that, especially since this is the first chapter of the final saga, official chapter of the final saga. It's time to see some more Dragon greatness. So this was very much appreciated. Now we cut over, and somebody posted this yesterday on Twitter. I did not remember the individual did this, so I apologize. But they put like a side-by-side thing of Kuma in the Return to Sabaody scene, whenever he was revealed to have been protecting the Thousand Sunny for those 2 years. It was a very, very emotional moment, very emotional scene. It's a panel that sticks with you, whether you experience it first in the anime or you read it in the manga. It's just very, very emotional stuff, right? Like, Kuma did what? And you get to see the way he looks, how damaged he is. But the panel that we saw there and the panel we see here is very similar, even down to the rays of sunlight coming down. It just, when you look back at that panel and look back at this one, it is so similar, so similar. So very interesting stuff here. Kuma, of course, saying, tell me what exactly did you see? And I am yours to command, master. Now, yesterday in the stream, I apologize for not remembering exactly who said it, but yesterday in our stream, somebody did bring up the fact that this could potentially lead into the, if Kuma can only listen to celestial dragons. If his direct commands can only come from celestial dragons, and this leads into the theory that potentially Garp married a celestial dragon and Dragon is half celestial dragon, or whatever the case may be, right? Now, that is very interesting. If that is the route in which we're going with this, it's nice to start seeing more of those, you know, threads and pieces of foreshadowing here already being established for, if that is an eventual reveal down the line, then we can look back at this and be like, okay, you know, this was one of those lines where obviously Oda meant something more than just master in regards to Dragon being the head commander of the Revolutionary Army. It could mean more than just that, right? It could mean master in regards to he is a celestial dragon. So of course that remains to be seen, but I found that theory that was dropped yesterday to be very, very interesting. We cut over to Koala, and it was great to see Koala again. And what's so interesting about this is somebody over their Marine HQ, they're over here, they've got their headsets on, man. Mine is all the way over here. They're just like this, dude. They've got their headsets. They're like, son, it's the Flame Emperor. Yo, I don't care if you got it plugged in or not. Y'all better run a full circle analysis on what's about to be stated here, because this is important. This is our biggest enemy. This is the face that runs the place at this point in time. Like, yo, get your butt on the job. And so they're like, hold on, listen and record. That's going to be the Flame Emperor. And so Sabo, of course, picks up the phone and he says, it's me. Now, because of the way in which this arc, I believe, is going to go, right, with the eventual war between the Revolutionary Army and the Celestial Dragons, the Marines having to protect the Celestial Dragons, it's going to turn into a crazy, crazy situation. All of this, of course, is leading into that, right? So because of that, I do think that what Sabo's about to say whenever we cut back to this, whenever it is, whether it be next chapter or however many chapters it's going to be. We're in the final saga, so it could be whatever, right? It literally could be next chapter. But whenever we find out, I most certainly think this is going to actually lead into either like a cryptic, encrypted message to the individuals who do know Sabo. So like Sabo would say something where the Marines would take one thing out of it and the Revolutionary Army would actually take something else out of it. Where it's like, oh, okay, hold on, man. Like this is, and then maybe Sabo gives Koala, or Dragon gives Koala like a signal to like get like fake mad at him so that they can all be like on the same, on the same page. Like, okay, no, we'll help you. We'll be over there in just a second. Like maybe we'll give him like a code. Like, yo, Roger Alpha Niner Delta Alabasta. I don't know, you know, like put it in sector B of the West Blue. I don't know, man. I don't know where he is. So it's like, this is where I am. This is my coordinates. And I'm going to need some backup. Whatever the case may be, maybe he's not going to say he needs backup. Maybe he wants them to stay out of this scenario. And in fact, Sabo maybe will try to act antagonistic towards Revolutionary Army so that they do not help him in this regard. Because he's like, yo, y'all need to worry about the war at hand. I'm going to worry about making sure the princess is safe and that all of us are good. Or who knows what could happen with Sabo at this point, right? But I do think that whatever the scenario ends up being, the Revolutionary Army is going to know that someone's listening in on them. So they're going to want to throw them off, right? So the conversation that we could see happening, if it's not off-screen, is going to end up being a conversation that is going to misdirect not only Marines, but us as well. So it's going to, we're not to pay attention to the faces of the individuals. So if Koala's face, Dragon's face, whether they do certain hand gestures to see if what's currently being stated is actually what they mean. But I do like the idea of Sabo potentially stating whatever he's going to state and either the revolution, either there's going to be like turmoil within the Revolutionary Army, whether I'm not saying like a civil war, but there is going to be conflict within the Revolutionary Army, right? Because of this whole Sabo situation, it's going to have to cause certain people to make certain decisions that they otherwise wouldn't have made. That could also lead into the massive war that's going to take place later on, right? I'm very interested in an idea like that taking place. So there's a lot of great and different scenarios. I do not expect this to be a clean cut, like, this is Sabo here, like, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing. I do think there's going to be a lot at play here. You know, Oda's going to use this to potentially set up multiple different threads that are going to become very important later on. Now, the thing I'm most interested in on top of that is, are we actually going to see Sabo? Are we going to continue to see his Denden Mushi and just his Denden Mushi? Like, very similar to Blackbeard and Dressrosa, where we didn't actually get to see Blackbeard, but we saw him in the Denden Mushi. Is it going to be like that, where we do not see Sabo and just his Denden Mushi, or do we actually cut over to Sabo's perspective and see him speaking, right, and where exactly he is? If he's, that could also be a good indicator of whether he was telling the truth or a lie, right? Like, let's just say he drops like, oh, I'm over here in Amazon Lily with Bull Hancock, right? Sabo says something like that. And then whenever we cut over to Sabo, he's actually like in Alabasta, or he's actually in Fishman Island with Shirahoshi. Like, who knows? And that's why I think cutting over to Sabo's perspective after whatever it is that he says will allow us that opportunity of like, oh man, like this is gonna get crazy. Like, he had to lie to the Revolutionary Army to throw off everyone else. Revolutionary Army would understand certain encrypted message. They would, like, I think there's a lot of opportunity here to break all of our ankles, right, in order to fashion, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing out of the Sabo situation, and I expect us to see a resolution to this soon. If not next chapter, then within the following chapters, because obviously as we head into the next arc, I do expect us to see a lot of what's happening around the world. I think this is the perfect time for us to see the SSG. This is the perfect time to see what Blackbeard is going after. This is also the perfect time to potentially, and this is the biggest stretch out of them all, to potentially get some sort of insight on Vegapunk. Maybe if we don't see him directly, but we could actually see Vegapunk's silhouette for the first time in the entire series, right? Like, there's a few things that we could get heading into the first arc of the final saga that is going to leave us with a few different threads hanging as we go from that arc to the next. Because, of course, the way I think this final arc is going to go, or the final saga, is just a constant snowball effect of like bam, 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 kind of like Marineford, right? Or from Sabo to Marineford, where it's just this thing happens here, forces us to go here, and bang, 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 right? Going all the way and culminating into the crazy final war. So I do believe whatever Sabo is about to say is about to be a major catalyst into what happens there. So going from the Revolutionary Army, this Cross Guild section, like I said earlier, I had so much fun here, man. Not only, this by the way is one of my favorite panels, maybe in all of One Piece. It's Crocodile and Mihawk holding Buggy's head. It is, that in of itself showcases their relationship, their partnership here as members of Cross Guild more than any words could. I absolutely love this panel. Crocodile and Buggy, or Crocodile and Mihawk as a tag team is something I never knew I needed, but man, am I happy it's happening. They are so goated together, dude. And now that it's those three, once again, going back to Impel Down, right? What Impel Down provided us was these amazing, amazing character interactions that even in the most dire of scenarios, I was always laughing. Because Mr. 3 and Buggy and Luffy had me crying, man. They were so hilarious, right? And so, and Jinbei, right, of course, as well, and a member of the, who could forget, legend in the MVP of the Marineford section when it comes to the Impel Down squad, right? So it's like to see all of them in this chapter is just so goated. But Mihawk in particular, just getting more, a flashback from both of them. We got to see both a Mihawk flashback and a Crocodile flashback in this chapter. Specifically, Crocodile reaching out to Mihawk. We got to see him back home. Of course, after probably having bodied all those Marines, we get to find out that Mihawk was known as the Marine Hunter. And the moment I heard that, I was like, oh my god. Bro, this man gave Zoro the Pirate Hunter name. the pirate hunter epithet, and now he's giving the marine hunter to Mihawk. So we're gonna have the marine hunter, the world's strongest swordsman, Dracula Mihawk, fighting the pirate hunter, the right-hand man of the king of the pirates, Roronoa Zoro. Oh my goodness, that's just so clean. It is a small parallel that adds on to that established connection and that established battle is going to take place at the end of the series. But it also adds even more hype to Mihawk, man. I mean, for you to be out here hunting Marines, son, like that's what you were before they reached out to you. The very first thing that I thought of when I saw that was, yo, they must have established this Chibukai system. One of the reasons for them establishing it was to stop this man from hunting the Marines. It's like, yo, we gotta get this man on our side, dude. He's too filthy. Like, we've got to reach out to him in some way, shape, or form for the love of all that is Flagnards. And so I just love these interactions so much. It was a hilarious, hilarious section, man. Buggy always adds on to the greatness, but Crocodile being Crocodile to the best, right? Like, this is the Crocodile that we know and love, man. And so to see him here, adding on to more of the comedy, Buggy was at his absolute best from a comedic standpoint as well. And so just to have these, and we continue to see the reveals and the creation of Cross Guild, the way that they all look at it, it was just, it's just looking back at these panels makes you want to laugh, but it was so good. The interactions in this chapter were just top notch, man. This was definitely my favorite part of the chapter, just for having not only finally figuring out the origins of it, but for me, more importantly, is seeing how they all interact with each other. And I just want to see more. I want to see more of this duo with Crocodile and Mihawk. I want to see more of this trio with Buggy included. And then with the rest of the crew included as well. Like, you already saw the way that Alvida and Mr. 3 were acting too, where they were like, yo, pack him up, son. Old boss, how you doing? Like, screw this guy. What's good, boss, man? Like, I was trying to establish old connections. There's classic piracy, man. I loved it. I loved every second of it. This was definitely the part of the chapter that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. It's mainly due to, it's made me thinking about the weekly experience of any manga, but specifically because we're experiencing this stuff weekly, we come out of certain things with like a longer time to think about it, and it'll have a long-lasting impact. Like, I will never forget seeing like Luffy and Law and their alliance for the first time back in Punk Hazard, and I just thought that was such a cool concept for such a long time that like image stayed in my mind for so long, where I still remember it today. And then here it's like these two characters that they just fit perfectly right together, but we just never would have really, at least for me, I was like, I never thought that Mihawk and Crocodile were going to be like a tag team one day, but man, they make such a great tag team because Mihawk is my dog's strength, dude. They gave this man the Emperor title, and all he has is the Chainsaw Man Part 2 protagonist, a boat that's smaller than my car, and a ghost girl. That's all he has. And my dog got 3.6 mil on his head. Like, when you have somebody like that, the Marine Hunter, the world's strongest swordsman, he's that dude. One shot at a meteor, you don't want to see him. And on the other side of that is the conniving former boss of an organization who almost successfully took over an entire country and found an ancient weapon. And that is just off of what we know. The man's ambitions go way far back into the original pirate era with the boys, with Whitebeard and Roger and the squad. So it's like, wait a minute. So these two individuals, you've got, and they're both extremely intelligent. Crocodile just has that villainous nature to him. I just love in characters, man, because it just makes him super in the gray area to the max, and that's why Crocodile's always been such a special character. I'll never forget the interactions back in Marineford. Every time he met with a character, it was just always a blast. So I just hope that this cross guild thing, whatever it ends up leading into in the as we head towards the end of the story, is that we just continue to see more of these characters. And when Mihawk and Crocodile, the next time we get to see or hear of things that they've done, I'm just excited to follow that and to get some more of that, because, man, dude, It just injected, seriously injected. I love this tag team. I love the three. I love the comedy. Their dynamics, the way they play off of each other is just perfect, man. It just causes for some insane entertainment. And it's like Buggy has been eating in prominence for so long, but now he's literally suffering from success. Now he's actually suffering from success, and it's just, we love to see it, man. Hilarious stuff. And then, of course, the beginning of the chapter, Nami utilizing Conqueror's coding and Conqueror's Hawk. We always knew that she had Conqueror's coding. Only person to injure Luffy at the beginning of the series. That's just facts. That's just facts. All right, and then utilizing Conqueror's Hawk to where even Jinbei was like, whoa, like, man. Like, on a serious note, if Nami were to ever have Conqueror's Haki one day, do you know how down with that I would be? An individual who literally has to conquer the weather and the seas in order for us to navigate to the next location? I'm down. I'm down with that, son. All right, legit. I don't care. It is my bias towards Nami. But who cares? Who cares? Nami conquers Haki? Injected. Injected. Now, of course, I just got to read this one more time, man. Emperor Monkey D and his 9 commanders, the 9 commanders, not only are these individuals legendary in and of themselves, but they are the leaders of a 5,600 individual grand fleet. The Emperor and his 9 commanders, dude. Chopper, great to see his increase. I honestly thought he was only going to go up to like 200 or something, or like 500. The fact that he's at 1,000, big dog Chopper is out here. Bro, when I made my predictions video, legitimately, I was like, Nami's going to hit like 160, 166, something like that. Like, it's not going to be that much higher. Bro, when I thought 366 mil, and I was like, this is the lowest? Like, yo, Nami 366. Broke 383. Frankie fascinates me, man. This 1,000 Sunny concept being on the poster makes me believe that we're, once again, we were talking about this on the stream yesterday, but it for sure makes me believe that we're about to run into a scenario where Frankie's about to have a Sanji, not exactly right, but a Sanji-like scenario where, remember how Sanji, his bounty poster led into the events of Whole Cake Island. I do wonder if this is foreshadowing for things to come with Frankie, with the whole with 1,000 Sunny, him potentially having to become a ship, or if this has more to do with perhaps the long lost pirate father that we still don't know about, right? Like, what consequence is this poster going to have in regards to Frankie's story heading into the final saga? And I'm very excited for that, man. Is it going to have a connection to Vegapunk? Is it going to have a connection to his long-lost pirate pops? Or is it going to have more to do with just foreshadowing what Frankie's going to turn into at the end of the story? I have no idea, but it's some exciting stuff, man. Usopp having 500 million. We had that foreshadowing back in Dressrosa. And an awesome comedic bit, but the moment that I saw that back in Dressrosa, I was like, he needs to have that one day. And the fact that he's getting the 500 mil before we go to Elbaf, post Elbaf, Usopp, 800 mil easy. Post Elbaf, you might have to put a bill on my dog's head. You might have to put a bill on my dog's head, man. All right? Things we love to see. Robin, I honestly expected Robin to... So I had Robin and Jinbei switched in my initial predictions video for the bounties. I had Jinbei like 800 mil, 900 mil, and I had Robin at 1,000,000 something. Because I thought that Robin was just so important with her ability to read the poneglyphs that now it would no longer... that's just something that everyone universally recognized at this point. Like, the Emperors want her, the Marines want her, CP0 wanted her, as we saw, the Gordosi wanted her, so it was like, yo, they're gonna put a massive, massive increase on her. She had the biggest increase out of everyone. And so in Robin's case, it's like it always made sense for her to have such a massive increase, but to actually see it happen within the manga. This is an individual that had 80 million on her head just for being alive. Now has 930 million, almost 1 billion. This just guarantees end of series Robin, 1 billion. 1 billion. Easy on Robin's head, yo. Like, yo, Luffy, like I said, basically has 4 billion. 4 individuals, excluding himself, that have 1 billion. Like, that's just crazy to me, dude. So Robin greatness, obviously 130 million. Super, super happy about that. And then, of course, this number 4 comedic twist was great, man. Sanji at 1,032,000, Jinbei at 1,100,000, and then Zoro at 1,100,000 and 1,000. And it was just, I loved the character interactions here, man. I really, really did. And I think similarly to the Luffy, how we thought that Luffy should have a higher bounty than what he actually ended up having, I had a very similar thought with Zoro and Sanji, and especially Zoro coming out of Wano. And it just really made me think that I think Oda is saving their massive, massive bounties for the end of the series. Because honestly, end of series, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are about to have the craziest bounties, dude. Bro, think about it this way. Mihawk at 3.5 mil, or 3.5 bill, and Zoro has surpassed that. Like, dog. Could you imagine their end of series bounties? We know Luffy's gonna have like 5 billion, 600 million for either the Gomu number or like 6, whatever. It's gonna be huge. So his right-hand man being right next to him, Sanji being a little lower than that, bro, their end of series bounties are gonna be absolutely bonkers. Bonkers, dude. Oh, I can't wait for that, man. I cannot wait for that. That's the first thing I thought of whenever I saw this, was like, man, it looks like he really is leading into the hype for the following bounty. Like, the following bounties that we get are going to be insane for our squad. Insane. And this also makes you think, like, man, how high are the bounties of Yasop, Lucky Roo, and Ben Beckman? Because, brother, they specifically showcased them as being the head executives. Like, they didn't talk about King and Queen, they didn't talk about Katakuri, they didn't talk about Shiryu, or any of the individuals in any of the other Emperor crews, but they specifically named the fact that the chief executives, all well known in their own right, Lucky Roo, Yasop, and Ben Beckman. Dog, Ben Beckman's gotta have like 3 bill on his head, dude. Like 2.5 bill, or so, dude, his bounty is gonna be huge. And then Lucky Roo and Yasop, they can't be too far behind. So it's like we're gonna have to match that by the end of the series in Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei's bounties. And it's like, yo, man, the hype is real. Just to see, yo, we got 3, dude. And you know, I'm including Robin. I don't care. We've got 4. We got basically 5. We got a starting lineup. Our starting lineup are all over a bill, dude. And I'm including Robin in that because he basically has over a bill. That's a crazy starting lineup, man. Would have been even crazier with Yamato, but we're gonna get off that. We're gonna get off that, man. We're moving on. When we see Yamato again, it's gonna be a glorious day. When she rejoins, it's gonna be a glorious day. But until then, our starting lineup is looking beefy. It's looking beautiful. And I love how Luffy and Buggy were both getting beat up in this chapter. We're both getting manhandled in this chapter, even though they're the new emperors. I just thought that was a great, classic Oda comedy right there. And especially since Nami don't care if you're the individual coming out the barrel, Luffy, or big goat with a coat just defeated Kaido, Luffy. She's gonna treat you the exact same way. And I love how the crew has that established connection where no matter what we do, no matter how far we go, and no matter how successful we become, we're never gonna change. Our relationship goes too deep, yo. And I love that. I love that so much. So this week's chapter of One Piece, in a different way than the Gear 5 chapter, really reminded me of why this series is so special. The Gear 5 chapters, like the 1043, 1044, 1045, that was like the essence of why this series is so goated to me, right? This chapter was more like, these are the things I love to see from One Piece in its post-arc scenarios. And even within its arcs, right? Like the old tried and true character interactions that the series is really known for. We got to see that in full display in this chapter, not only with our Straw Hats, but also with the Cross Guild and the individuals around the world. And so to get this in the way that it did, it just felt like the chapter just flowed so naturally from point A to point B to point C. It felt like there was nothing to really distract us from this or distract us from that. Everything just once you finish one section, satisfied, move on to the next section, satisfied, move on to the next section, satisfied, cliffhanger, we'll be back in 2 weeks. It flowed so well, and I do believe that even with the rest of the insanity sure to come in the rest of the year, this is still going to end up being in the top 10 chapter of the year discussion, considering just how well this chapter flowed. Massive reveals in this chapter with the bounties. Once again, any chapter with brand new, it's going to be legendary. So the bounties on the Straw Hat side, and of course seeing the bounties for Mihawk, Crocodile, and Buggy now, absolutely insane, man. Who else could potentially join the Gross Guild? Obviously, we all want Doflamingo to join. How would he join? In what capacity? We have no idea. But that would just be the final, like, man, that Cross Guild is the GOAT. You know what I mean? Now, that's an alliance. You want to talk about alliances that have been made in the series? That would be the alliance, bruh. Mihawk, Crocodile, Buggy, and Doflamingo. Stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with me, bro. That's what I call an alliance, dog. That is the alliance, you know what I mean? And so this is the stuff I'm so looking forward to seeing in this final saga. It's for chapters and moments like these where we finally get to spend more time with these part-timers that we all just want to spend more time with. Individuals like Mihawk and Crocodile, and then around the world, individuals like Shanks and Dragon, and all of these part-time characters we never get to see, but we have such a strong emotional attachment to. This is going to be the arc, the saga, the section of the story where they are finally more involved, and we're already seeing that with the first chapter in the final saga. And I just loved every second of it, man. Classic One Piece at its finest. This chapter, without question, was a 40 out of 10 for me, man. Easy, son. I don't know what that means in official ratings, but in my book, this was legendary. Just fantastic, man. We really needed this as the very first chapter in the final saga. It was just so great, man. So I will see y'all next time. I hope everybody's an awesome sauce of a week. Let me know your additional thoughts on this chapter in the comment section down below. And until next time, y'all have a great one. Still can't believe this whole cross-guild thing is happening, man. It's truly a treat, man. It's truly a treat. Luffy and his 9 commanders. And what in the Flying Flagners is about to happen here with Sabo and the Revolutionary Army, man. Exciting stuff is brewing, y'all. Exciting stuff is brewing.